You can find the Tendo Talks podcast on all major podcast streaming services, including Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, and Amazon. You can also find the Tendo Talks podcast on the Joe Tendo YouTube channel and now its own unique Tendo Talks podcast YouTube channel. All links in the description. Thank you very much for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tendo Talks podcast with me, Joe Tendo. Today we've got two special guests in a very unique podcast. I want you guys to say hello to Piece by Piece and Wazzacrack. How you doing, guys?
Hello.
I'm good.
What have you been up to this week? Anything exciting?
I was Jean-Luc Picard yesterday in a bald cap.
Can you top that, Owen?
No, I cannot. No, not at all. Just selling flowers and sleeping. That's about it.
That's pretty good, though. That's a good day. So if anybody isn't familiar, Piece by Piece does many a cosplay on her favorite franchise, which is obviously Star Trek, not to be confused with Star Wars. And she goes the extra mile. You really do, don't you, Piece? You've done all sorts to. You try. So let's get straight into it. Starting with you, Piece. What inspired you to start streaming? How did you come across the Twitch community?
I had a friend of mine bring up Twitch one day, and I was like, I don't know what the hell this is. So I checked it out. Saw a first streamer that I ever watched was Kuro Ken playing my favorite game, Final Fantasy VIII, and I was like, this looks really, really cool. I want to try this. So I went to Best Buy, got all the stuff, and was like, let's fucking go. So
let's go.
Yeah.
Wazzacrack, how did you get into streaming?
I started watching Twitch way back when Soda Poppin', I don't even know he's still big these days, but I used to watch Soda Poppin' and the Doc and Shroud and stuff. But then I was working in a restaurant back 2 years ago. Met a buddy of mine I knew from college, Keith, and we ended up chatting, went out for drinks then like that weekend, as you do, go on the sesh. And then he was like, hey, I have a Twitch and I haven't done anything with it for years, but I want to get back into it. Do you want to come with me? I was like, yeah, perfect. Let's go for it. So we ended up streaming then for 2 years, almost 2 years together until the kind of pandemic hit, and then we split up. So just because we couldn't do it together. So that's how I ended up starting stuff here then.
So you were a big fan of the Doc and you were aware of Twitch and like other such platforms. Because I keep meaning to look this up, but I think Twitch had a different name, didn't it? Before it was Twitch, before it was bought or something like that. I'm not familiar with what it is. I will look it up at some point. I will look up at some point if I remember.
No, you won't.
No, I will. Well, I'll forget. So, Piece, what was your first gaming experience that you can remember?
Like ever or on Twitch?
Ever
was Super Mario Brothers with my mom when I was like 5 or 6.
Super Mario Bros. The original.
Yeah.
On
the NES, whatever. You
got to get this right. Come on, this is just Joe Tendo you're talking to. Come on.
It was the classic like. Surely that was.
That's it. Right? Yeah, that is Super Mario Bros.
You nailed it. Yeah.
What about you, Crack?
I didn't have we didn't have games for younger, but both my parents were teachers, so consoles and gaming was ostracized from my house for a long time. But I snuck a Game Boy in when I was like 14 or 15, and I had Super Mario Land and Pokemon Blue. Those were my first two on Game Boy. And then I eventually got a PC when I was like 16, 17. And I convinced my dad that Age of Empires was a historical history kind of program, which technically I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
And then I think the very first game I really felt was a game that I got was Tomb Raider 3. That was right when I was 16 or 17.
I think a lot of kids got away with the I need a PC for my schoolwork kind of gig.
Yeah.
Wait, even back then?
What do you mean back then?
Well, no, like we're the same age.
We're not
like,
cavemen.
I couldn't say it was for schoolwork. We were still doing like, I don't know, pen, paper bullshit all the time. I never had to do shit on a
passed
PC.
my typing test in school. Do you know what I mean? Practice when I come home.
I started with J and F, and then I went to J, F, K, and D. like, I think realistically, we probably could have got away with a word processor and a printer. I mean, no, I don't know in Ireland, but because Owen is from Ireland, and Nick is from the States. I was doing homework on like I was using like, you know, CAD products to make stuff for design tech and stuff like that at school at 16, for sure. I don't know what you were doing in the States, you know, richest country in the world. But we could be kicked out at 16 as well, couldn't we, Owen? I guess so.
It's true.
We could just be kicked out at home at 16. So I don't know. Whereas you have to be at school at 18 in the States till you're 18 in the States.
Well, that's when you graduate high school, is when you're 18.
Yeah, it's not the same here.
Yeah, you can leave at 16 here.
You can leave at 16 here.
Become a tradesman or something. A lot of people do that. It's still up to my year. Even back in 2003, 2004, there was still lads leaving my school to go be Sparkies and Chippies and stuff. And
nah, if you did that, you were like looked down upon. Like, oh, you didn't finish high school.
Well, it's funny. I think that actually the lads who left when I left were looked down on that. Some of them went to do apprenticeships and trades, and everyone else went to uni. And then a lot of my friends finished uni, and it was like, oh, there's no jobs. And those people who'd done apprenticeships, like for Rolls-Royce, for instance, or Toyota, they were the ones raking it in with no student debt. And then the tradesmen who are getting like 500 quid a day for some of the trades they're doing. It's funny how things work out. A lot of people left school at 16 in my year just to smoke weed every day, I think. Yeah, that was definitely a thing. that was the job for a while. I don't know, maybe some of them are streamers now. That's what I hope. That's what I live in hope for. So what is it that you enjoy most about streaming, Peace? What is it that you, after you've turned the stream off and you step away and you think, do you know what, that was a good stream, what is it you liked about it?
I like just making people laugh, which is where my stupid raps come in, like the cosplays. I'm creative in a dumb, funny way, and that's what I enjoy most about it.
What about you, Owen?
I just enjoyed the crack. Like, do you know what I mean? You gotta have a bit of banter in the stream. It makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, I like making stuff and then showing it to people. Do you know what I mean? I like physically making, whether it be graphics or anything, or even just something stupid, just an event to do for the stream, and just showing it to people, like, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. And then there's always a lot of hype around stuff that if you do something creative and something unique for people, they tend to really like it. So that's always fun.
Yeah, certainly. And obviously all the links are going to be in the description for Peace and Wazzacrack's channel. But so Nick was talking about her raps then. I suggest you check out the turtle rap if you possibly can. And Owen actually made a like a be right back weighted screen, would you call it, Owen?
Yeah, it was something I used for the starting and the BRB screens. Which was inspired by the Grand Theft Auto loading screens, right? Yeah. Which featured, including myself, a load of streamers that Owen knows, which is really creative. And I guess seeing stuff like that is it's really, really nice to see. It's one of those touches that you don't get on a lot of streams. You don't get that sort of personal touch or effort. But like you say, you enjoy the creative side of that as well, and then showing it to people as well, which is very cool.
He's also made my logo and my overlays as well. So
I didn't know it. See,
yeah.
So when you check out Peace, because you will check out Peace, you'll see.
I've been slaving.
Yeah, you'll see the overlays. Yeah. So what is it about gaming then that has brought you back to gaming? Since you guys have been playing games, have you continued to do so when life doesn't get in the way, obviously? Or have you ever taken hiatus and come back? Or what is it that keeps bringing you back to gaming, Nick?
Honestly, I took a big break from gaming from like age 24, 25-ish till about 2 years ago. Just didn't didn't have the motivation or just didn't really care. And then I found Twitch again and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I remember this. I remember enjoying this. And then, yeah, ever since, like, all I do now is game either on stream or off stream. Like, yeah.
And Owen?
I haven't taken a break. It's literally because it was so taboo in my home house for so many years, and until I was 18, and then I bought my PS2 for the first time, and I was in college. I was in my first week in college.
Yeah,
I had gotten my grant, and I bought a PS2, and I was like, you know what, this will help me pass the year. But it was basically
really
just because it was like straight away from that moment, like I haven't really taken a break. Only when I've gone on holidays or whatever. I'm always, man, in the evenings. That's what I live for. I like some people are like work people. Some people are people that live for the moments outside of work, and I'm the latter of those two. So I think the fact that I was denied it for so many years, I feel like I'm catching up constantly. So I'm always catching up to like stuff that like people that are my age and my peers are like, they feel nostalgia for something, and I don't have that because I never experienced it. So it's then I go back and I like, that's why I've been playing like in the last decade or so. I ended up playing like a load of N64 stuff, a load of GameCube stuff, a load of SNES games, a load of like Sega games, all that kind of stuff, because I didn't have it. And I feel like, I have to like basic catch up. I've been playing catch up for like 14 years. And I have a serious load of games to play. So it's,
that's true.
That's where I'm at.
Was that a common thing in Ireland, or was it just more like your parents being more strict, or because I think for people in the UK, there's a stereotype about Ireland being a bit more strict, parenting wise, certainly. But as I say, I've never known whether that's the case, because I think it's a generalization, of course. How do you feel about that? Do you think parents are generally more strict in Ireland, or was it just your parents happened to be concerned for your education because they were teachers?
I think it's the latter, though. I think it's just because they were teachers. I think, it is a generalization, but I think in my case, it is the truth. It was the fact that they're just both teachers. They both cared more so about my education, which obviously is what you should do for your kids.
Of course.
You have to realize that if you tell them they can't do something, the second they turn 18, they're going to go in and do it. So that's what you got to realize too, is that if you completely cut it out, like that you're taking something out of them that their peers have as they grow up, I think that a large part of me trying to fit in school was that's all. Like, I think the majority of other families all had much more lenient, just in terms of gaming, by the way.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Just in terms of gaming, like they were much more lenient, and that like I would always spend my summers out of my own house, so I would be at my friends, at my neighbors, just playing games and having a crack.
Right, okay.
That's where it was. So.
Yeah, it's difficult because obviously I'm not a parent, so it's difficult to know, and obviously that's never going to be an easy balance anyway. If you want to get your kid a console or whatever, or let them play, because obviously the other difference now is, I guess, that games don't end. Because when I was a kid, until like online gaming wasn't a thing, I used to play Red Alert when I was like 12, modem to modem, but online gaming wasn't a thing, and the game had an end. And that was it. Yeah. And you didn't get another game until it was your birthday or Christmas, or if you were lucky, Easter. So it was like, okay, that game's done. I'll go play outside again. But now, obviously, the games don't end. And
we don't go outside. We don't go outside.
But the games don't end. So I don't know, like, what would you, if you're a parent, what do you say to kids now? Because it's like, oh, well, if I don't keep up, my friends are all going to overtake me, in levels, whatever they're playing, or they're going to get better. And that's crazy to think. And it must be it's always been a difficult one for parents to know, I guess, how much leniency to have on these sort of things. But now it must be really, really tough. I think it's not done you too much harm. And it's nice to be able to.
I've been all right. I think I've been all right.
You've been all right.
I can see it with my sister's kids now. Like, they're coming into their 8, 9.
Yeah.
I have no idea what age my niece and nephews are, but like, they're roughly around that age.
They could be so, 5.
And she taught. Yeah, they could. One of them is, I think. But they're coming up to the age now where like potentially I'd be like, here, this is an ideal time to hand you a Game Boy and go experience Pokemon Blue or Pokemon Green, or even like today's equivalent, like a Switch and Mario Odyssey. Just go experience that, because and I know it's tough as well, because kids will hone in on that and that's all they want to do and just repeat it over and over because it gives them that good endorphin stuff. But like, I think for me, I'm trying to explain to my sister that a good balance is better, because otherwise they'll turn out like me, where they've like 12 consoles when they're 33 and they're playing like, Odyssey when they're 33 instead of when they're 8 or 9 years old, because they feel like they've missed out. So I think I'm just trying to like convey that to her. But like, again, as a mother, she's always just like, kid games are dangerous. Like we have to supervise them all the time. You don't know what they're seeing. It's like, yeah, but it's Mario. You're not handing them like GTA 5. Although I did play GTA 5 with my nephew. But like,
he was like that. Oh my god!
So, no, we just drove around and we sprayed the car a couple of times, and he was happy out. But like, I'm just trying to explain to her that there can be a healthy balance between entertainment and education and upbringing, and obviously socializing is important for them as well. But
going outside, right? It's quite interesting though when I think back, like trying to compare that to a different subject was when I was at school and we got a bit older, when we were like 14, 15, and we started camping out in fields, and drinking and stuff.
Bush drinking.
Sorry?
Bush drinking.
Bush, is that what you call it?
Yeah. Bushing sometimes.
Bushing. We should just call it. Yeah, I don't know. It's Ireland. It's all fine.
Yeah, it's all bushes. It's green fields and bushes, man. You jump over a bush and have a bottle of wild turkey, and that's your evening sort of.
Wild turkey?
Yeah, wild turkey. Yeah.
What's that? And
whiskey. Yeah, just
whiskey.
What do you mean? What the?
Wild turkey.
Yeah, you'd go. Well, we used to call it camping. Camping and drink. Camping. Camping and drinking.
Invite someone camping and they don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about bringing drinks? Or
why else do you go camping when you're 14?
That's true.
It's not an adventure for you at 14. You're too old for that. You go drinking or you passed out in like a field somewhere or whatever. You like the kids who had been told they could never drink, like not even like half a shandy, with their on New Year's Eve. You know what I mean? It was you're not old enough to drink. You can't have any. Well, no, because like for instance, I would never really wanted to anyway until that time. But I was always allowed, if I wanted to have from like 13, if I wanted to have a lager, like on an occasion, I could have one.
Say you could.
I could have one.
Oh.
But I didn't want one. And mum would be like, do you want a shandy? If it was like New Year's Eve or something like that. And I just didn't want one. But the kids who had been categorically told no, not a drop ever, no occasion, they tended to be the ones who ended up in a mess. And we'd end up having to ring their parents because we were like scared that they'd choke on their own vomit or something like that. So it's like, I think it's true what you're saying. Like if you hold something and say you can't have that, it's just going to make kids, especially who are curious,
have to have that.
Yeah.
At some stage in their life, they're gonna go straight for it when they have the opportunity and there's no barrier anymore.
Yeah,
and I think that relates to a lot of things. It could be like if you go to a family that is involved in gaming or whatever. It's just like if you restrict access to something, they will grow up with that barrier there. And once they like have that ounce of independence or ounce of or an opportunity, and especially in your teens, you tend to you start breaking barriers in that have been set for you for the last 16 years.
Yeah.
And then I think that's when they really go straight for that one, because they're like, this one is what I was told not to do, but I want to know what it is, because I don't know anything about it. And it's the rest are all kind of easily balanced, whereas that one is just completely cut off. And I think once you completely cut off something and you let them know that you're cutting it off,
definitely.
It makes them want it more.
So, Peace, you said that you played Super Mario Bros. With your mum. So what was the first console that was yours and the first games that were yours that you owned?
First console I bought myself was GameCube with Wind Waker, and I still love that game. I can't I can't get enough of that game. And that's actually how I found Owen and Keith, is that they were playing Wind Waker. And I was like, oh I love it here.
Oh, okay. Was it the in Europe the Wind Waker GameCube came as a special edition silver GameCube as a pack?
Did you have the regular navy one?
No, I got
yeah. It
wasn't the first GameCube I got was the navy one, but then it broke and I got the silver one.
Oh.
So
see, the silver one only came out in Europe with the pack. It was a special Wind Waker pack. Like with the you know, an extra sleeve that went over the top, you know, with Link on with his sword and stuff like that. It was pretty. I mean, because there'd been a lot of people in Europe who'd been like, oh, I don't know whether to get one, but I like playing Smash Bros. And then when that came out, when Wind Waker came out, they were like, well, I've got no excuse now. I like Zelda, so
yeah.
So you happened upon Owen, your partner, through this stream.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's pretty interesting because obviously it does happen. It does happen on Twitch. So how did that play out? Did you chase Owen and say, look, Owen,
yes.
look.
Okay. Owen, I'm sorry.
Tell
She's not sorry. She's not sorry.
Owen could not take a hint. I gave him many, many very direct hints. It's like, you're really cute. I like you. I really like you. And he's like, oh, grand. Cheers. Yeah. Fine, sure. And I was like, Owen, I like you. And he's like, oh, yeah. That's
yeah,
cool.
but in Ireland, that's just being like, that's like,
cheers.
So after what was it? 3 months of like me kind of like trying to talk to him, like DMs and stuff. It was like December and I had gone on vacation to see one of my friends and I was like still trying to talk to him. And I think that's when you said you finally understood, like, oh, okay. Like, yeah.
I think that was the first, it was the first time that it was either a video or a picture. Because up until then, it was just small kind of what I would have classified as small vague talk just over DMs, which was a bit weird because I didn't really know at the time. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I was like, yeah, it's great.
I'm only in his stream every time.
She just likes me and Keith, man. She likes to see me stream. She wants to get to know us better. That's fine.
Yeah, she really loves Wind Waker. Really loves Wind Waker.
Man, I can never stop playing Wind Waker. So I think once December came and Nick went on holidays to her friend, then she sent me a picture of her and her friend, and it was just selfie going, having a great time or something like that. And I was like, well, yeah, this is a bit more than, hey, I like your stream.
I
this
really
is
like Zelda, by the way.
This is like, yeah. I should have said something like that. I was like, do you like Zelda? So then I knew, and then well, I didn't know then either. I kind of I guesstimated. I didn't want to just go, oh yeah, this is it, because I don't do that. I'd be like,
I understand.
We'll wait for the door to knock a couple of more times before I open it.
Yeah,
and figure out what it is.
Make sure you don't embarrass. You don't want to embarrass yourself. Because especially if you're already you're already kind of friends, so it's like, and you're enjoying like the relationship you already have. You don't want to be careful and go, oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. Let's do this.
Ruin this.
Let's ruin this. So but obviously, so you got impatient, Nick, and started banging on the door.
3 months. I was patient enough. I liked this man, and I was like, no, Owen, come on, please, please.
Owen, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
I think the first time we ever video chatted, I was having a really bad day, and I was like, I think I was upset about something, and I was like, Owen, can I video chat you just out of nowhere? Can you just call me? Can I call you? And he's like, yeah. And then we just talked all night, and then every day after that.
That was it.
That's it.
4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, something I think.
Well, for you, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's 10 for me.
Are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. You're all right to stay up a bit longer.
Yeah.
So how long ago was that now?
That was year and a half ago. That was only like a couple of weeks, or maybe no. I think it was the new year. Like it was December. You sent me the thing from Colorado, but after in January, I think I got the phone call midnight, and I was like, oh, okay.
So previously to this, as far as like friendships go, just friendships, had you made friends on the internet before at all?
Nick?
Either of you?
Oh, okay. I had made a few. I don't. Kind of. I have more friends now that I would consider like closer friends, but the ones that I thought I had before, I don't really talk to anymore. So
yeah, so more so now, so less then. So you went from not really making friends or whatever through the internet to finding this handsome Irish man and banging on the door.
Yeah.
What about you, Owen?
I think through the Twitch stream, me and Keith had met two people through the stream. Well, I had met the second through the stream. I think Keith knew him from when they were kids, but I hadn't. I didn't know them apart from just being two usernames in the chat. So I ended up meeting Megas and Fear Merchant through those. But I think apart from that, I'm trying to think back. Not really. No, I wouldn't have made internet friends as such, but except those two lads. But since then it's kind of boomed up majorly. Like since it kind of opened the door a small bit to Twitch people and viewers and having my own stream and Nick's crew as well. I think I've met a ton of people through it and been in like video calls, video chats with everyone, and it's I've probably talked to these people more so than I've talked to lads I've known since I was 7.
Yes.
You know, and these days anyway, the last two years or so. So I think more so in the last year, and maybe that's due to the pandemic. Maybe it's due to the fact that that's. I think pandemic or not, I think we would have gone down this path anyway, and I'd still be meeting friends. I think we would have gone even more so. I think I would have probably traveled somewhere at this stage to meet people that I've met on the internet at this stage. I think so. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're first on the list. Yeah, don't worry, that's fine.
Who were we talking to? Was it Andy the other day? And he was like, "So Owen, where do you want to like travel next?" And Owen was like, Missouri. Like, there you go.
I was like,
Missouri. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard it's nice in the summer in Missouri. I guess like for me, before I did Twitch, I wouldn't say that people couldn't make friends on the internet. I would just sort of be like, oh, well, hey, that's cool, but probably just not something I'd do. I didn't look down on it or anything like that. I had a few mates that had made some friends through Gears of War, just through Xbox 360 chat, like, and then from England as well. But then, like, you know, tangibly met up and become friends and stuff. And I'd met them as well, and then they were cool. Like, so I didn't look down on that sort of thing or think that it was impossible. I just thought it wasn't for me. And then, like you say, you start to speak to these people more than people that you've known for quite a long time. In your real life, it's a very strange thing, but really nice as well.
If you're including like the gaming thing, like since when I got a 360, I spent like probably a decade playing with two lads from Colorado. Now I haven't personally met them, but if you're including that, like those two lads I played with like every night from like 2007 until like probably a couple of years ago when I got off Xbox, or I started getting other consoles and stuff. But I played with them for 10 solid years, almost every night, every weekend, up until all hours. Like those were two lads I could trust a lot, which is weird to think about. But you just go through. I know. I always thought about it like this: you're playing with someone and you're like saving the world. So you're playing Gears or you're doing a campaign, but you're journeying through this thing together. Stop laughing at me. It's a serious moment. But like, but like you're accomplishing something together, even though it's not like IRL, like building a shed or something. You're actually like accomplishing something. You feel like you've gone on a journey together, and it's huge. And we did that for so long. And those two lads were. I don't know. I thought a house was too big of enough thing, so I said a shed instead.
That's too much work. Just a little shed.
I'm scared of houses. Okay, I live in an apartment.
No Sims.
Yeah, so that's like basically like those two. I think you can make some serious friends. Like if I had the opportunity, I probably should have gone once in the decade to the States at least. But I do have a plan to meet those two lads for definite. I've always said it. I actually bought them Xbox Ones back in 2000 and when was that? When it first came out.
You bought them both an Xbox One.
I rang Walmart in Delta in Colorado, and I had gotten some money, so I was like, do you know what? I'm going to buy an Xbox One. But I was like, my buddies can't play with me. The two lads I play with for like 7 or 8 years, and I said, nah, screw this. So I rang up Delta in Walmart, or Walmart in Delta in Colorado, and I said, hey, this is going to be weird, but I want to buy 2 Xbox Ones. And I said, I suppose you could tell that I'm not from the States. She was laughing, and she was like, that's fine. I said, I just want to know, can I pay by card or the phone? She was like, yeah, it's perfect. I said, perfect. So then that night, I got on with the lads, and I was like, hey, I need you to do me a favor. I need both of you to drive to Walmart in Delta tomorrow and put my name on the counter, and they'll give you something. The lads were like fucking blown away. But like, again, I'm just trying to point the fact that like that was, I put so much like into with these lads that I do a lot for them, you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Which again is something that one didn't exist when we were very young. Like that just wasn't a thing, you know, speaking to people on the internet wasn't a thing. And two is something, you know, one it's an incredibly nice gesture, but just something that I could see, you know, at the right place at the right time with the right funds, you know, I'd care about these people enough to do that. Whereas I myself personally, I wouldn't have ever thought that I would do anything like that or even become friends with people. I like in the early days, I think I used to go into chat rooms, but just to mess around. I used to just speak to people on MSN from school.
Mine was Yahoo.
I used Yahoo Messenger.
AIM mainly, but that was like for people that I actually went to school with.
What about Star Trek chat rooms?
No.
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 What? No Star Trek chat rooms.
No.
I'm incredibly disappointed now. I'm incredibly disappointed. Although, I guess what would you talk about in a Star Trek chat room when you already all know everything there is to know about Star Trek?
I mean, at that time, I didn't know shit about Star Trek.
All right. All right. So it's a recent thing.
No, I did. But hey, now hold on.
Hey now.
Hey now.
You're dreaming.
Like I'm talking like chat rooms when I was like what 12, 13. I wasn't really actively watching Star Trek then. But like when I was younger with my mom and my family, we would always watch it. But then up until like age 22, I finally started rewatching everything again. I was like, oh, I forgot about how much I loved this. And then it's just, I haven't let it go again. I won't let it go.
Won't let it go.
No.
Not even the next generation.
Nope.
So, being a couple and both being streamers, do you get any sort of, and I have no idea, which is why I'm curious to ask, and I've not asked before since I've had this idea of bringing you two on. Have you had any sort of trolling that would be specific to people that were in a relationship? Is there any way anyone's tried and upset you in any way? Like, but I don't know, in any sort of way. Have you had any sort of unique kind of trolling that would be specific to like a couple that stream, if you like? Or has it just mainly been good vibes?
I don't think so.
Well, no, not really. Nothing super
Hang on,
negative.
wait.
Nothing super negative.
Do you like trolling?
In terms of trolling, like friendly trolling.
Like from our friends?
No,
Yes.
I mean like
negative, like
real
assholes.
negative.
Screw you power couple fuckers.
No.
The majority of stuff is just calling me Jeeves, her servant, and then when she's in mine, then calling her a toad. That's about the extent of the that we get to. But like, I think the Jeeves thing came when you were here and we were drinking hot whiskeys or something on stream, and I was like, just getting them for you because you were demanding it. So then, like, then she was calling Jeeves. So yeah, I'm only messing. But like that, I don't think anyone has like said anything. Someone, it was might not have been related, but someone came in and just said the word simp to me in my chat one time, and I was like, all right, you all right? Okay. I just banned it straight away. I was like, yeah, whatever, simp. That's fine. I just came in and just said nothing else, just said that. I was like, yeah, but that was it. I don't think so. I like maybe if we were like, I don't know, like had 60,000 viewers or something each, the probabilities of that might be higher, but
maybe. But then I think there's always people who there'll always be people lurking in the back who are a fan of, and they haven't even really spoke to the person, and they'll in their head it's more than what it is, and then what they could get jealous of what you have, and then obviously you'd be, well, I wouldn't say easy targets is the wrong expression, but like they could go and try and troll you for whatever reason. I guess a possibility. So I guess I just kind of wondered about that. What did you think of Ireland, Nick?
Didn't see much of it. I basically saw that room you're seeing right now.
Yes. Did you see it rain?
Lots of rain. I did get to go to a few places, like what was
the
it?
First 2 days.
Kinsale.
Yeah.
That's the only one that really sticks out.
That's the only place we specifically went, really.
Okay,
yeah.
I liked what I saw, like on the drive to Keith's house, and like.
Isn't it green?
It's very green. Yeah.
It's very
also
green.
Owen's apartment has a incredible view of like this lovely little lake, like out in the living room, and I love looking at that every day.
Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, you know what? Shut the fuck up. I didn't know.
Lake, Atlantic Ocean. Well,
Like, no, you're right. It is a lovely, but like, that was one of the kind of disappointing things, I suppose, is that we couldn't go anywhere because it was like 4 days. Maybe was that you were here before? Maybe it was longer. Might have been a week.
I was there for, I think it was like 6 days, because then I got the email that we couldn't go on that kayaking thing that I had planned because everything was like going to shit.
Oh, it was then.
We didn't have much
second
time.
Week of March.
Oh shit.
2020. Yeah.
So then I got stuck there for 2 months. It was great.
Yeah, I was gonna
fly
say.
back. Yeah.
You couldn't fly. They weren't letting you fly at all, not even to repatriate.
They had canceled my flight, and then I couldn't get another one because they just weren't going anywhere.
Yeah, Ireland wasn't doing the flights to the States anymore for a while. They were just, and if you booked a flight, there was a high probability they were cancelling it. So your initial dates for here was the 11th of March to the 27th. 24th of March. That was the 2 weeks.
Right.
And it went from 11th of March to the 7th of May.
Right.
So there was a nice 2-month hiatus there. It was lovely though.
So were you streaming there then as well, Nick?
Yeah, I actually had my mom send me my laptop because I was like, I'm gonna be stuck here. I can't work. So can you send me my streaming stuff so I can like try and make some kind of income while I'm here? And she's okay. And we weren't even dating when I went over there.
No.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
Hang on.
No.
Hang on, wait. Now I'm confused because I thought you said you were banging on the door.
So yeah, but she was knocking on the door to like get chatting to me back in December.
Oh, right. She was still knocking. What were you playing at?
Metaverse, man. No, then once. Sorry, we'll recap that. So December, I figured that she was getting serious. January, we started video chatting more often, started watching movies together,
okay,
doing a lot of extracurricular stream stuff with this one viewer that I was doing. I was like, oh, this is something new. But like I could tell that we were getting there. And then by February, we were sending each other little X's and messages, that type of that
the subtle,
and then like, okay, now I know. Like I kept there was constant moments. I was like, okay, now I know.
I had to ask him to be my Valentine. Because at that point, he still wasn't doing anything. I was like, you know what?
It was like, like January.
I'm going to send him a Star Trek poem and ask him to be my Valentine. And he said yes.
and you cringed at your sister writing some poem for her friend as well.
She didn't write a poem. She made a glittery poster board sign that said, "Be my boyfriend."
You would have done that too. Anyway, but so basically then, like, we were chatting in February. We did Valentine's Day February.
Yeah.
So we were like doing something, but nothing major. So then sorry, my categories of how things work. But
something but nothing major.
Then she told me that she'd booked flights and she was coming over. And I was like, oh.
I asked first. I was like, hey, would it, like, what if I, like, you know, what if I came over and, like, visited? I've never been there. And he was like, that'd be fucking class. And I was like, okay.
Fucking class.
So, yeah. And then, maybe that was, like, the after Valentine's, I think that was.
That was after Valentine's.
And then, first week of March.
Wait, you didn't mess about, did you? You were there 2 weeks later.
She was there
2.5 weeks later.
Well, yeah. She was getting ready to come over 2.5 weeks later. Yeah. So then I remember ringing you on the first week of March, being really cagey because I was like, I have to tell her that like there's some serious shit going on in Ireland and the EU and probably in the States as well that you probably shouldn't be ignoring. But and I was like, look, there's like some like Italy's locking down this week. Like, we don't really know what's happening. There's talk at work about things happening. I don't know, like, if this is a good idea. She was like, do you know what? If I lived like this always, I wouldn't go anywhere. So I was like, all right, okay, come on over. And she over here 11th of March, and we shut down like the 19th or something, or 18th of March. We were in full lockdown that stage. So then she stayed here for 2 months.
Wow.
And then we spent a couple of weeks had a good crack over with Keith and stuff, and then in here just making cakes and playing games and watching The Wire. And
The Wire.
And then March 28th. Then
great show.
Yeah, March 28th. Then she gave me.
I broke down on the couch.
The question that most men fear is the "What are we doing?" question.
Yeah. What are we doing?
Okay, listen. I knew I had to go home soon. Well, at that point, I thought I was leaving soon.
Right,
and I was like, Owen, I'm gonna leave. Like, what? Help! And he was like, okay, calm down.
It's
grand.
Everything is grand. Everything is fine.
Everything's grand. Like, we don't need this emotional roller coaster. just nice. There's a lovely gradient happening here, but I like that being said though. Like, if it was me, it'd take forever. So it's good that you take these impulsive steps because you need to like drag me along sometimes. But like that's just how I am. But we ended up then we started dating 20th of March then, and then we had like a month and a half then until you were back. So that was really enjoyable. It was I keep telling people it was like I didn't experience the first lockdown because
of course
I was hosting Nick for like the entire
Nick,
time. I didn't feel like we were in an enclosed space. This is a small apartment.
Yeah.
We were in here for like 6 weeks. We had a nice routine though. We had a nice, you know, I get up, you stay in bed, I get your coffee, you're in bed. but we had to work out like a nice routine to kind of make sure everything kind of stayed smooth, and that's why we built in watching The Wire in the evenings, because it was like an episodic thing. We did once a day.
Yes,
and it brought a nice routine to the day.
Yeah, definitely.
So just making those little milestones in each day, so that you sense the passage of time, that you don't sit there and go, Christ, what will we do?
Yeah.
You know? So I think we did that fairly well.
I didn't realize this story is like right on the verge of lockdown. I had no idea. I knew that you'd been, Nick, but I didn't know. Wow. So, geez, that must. I mean, that must have. That,
Look at him. See, Nick, what he's experiencing now is the fear any man would have. With the
Oh God, she's stuck here.
I'm putting myself in Owen's shoes and like my heart's going, oh man, I'm sweating. I'm like, oh shit. Like, no, it's really no. In all seriousness, though, it is a really nice story. And it must have been, it must have been tough. Like when you actually went, that must have been tough. Like I'm not going to dwell on that because that's an emotional thing. But like that must have been tough. And like, it's really nice. Obviously, that's a fucking year ago now. Wow. So the trip to Missouri, as soon as we get these passports.
We said back when she left on May 7th, we were like, look, this'll die down the summer. We'll have like everything back normal. Like we'll try and do like every season we'll go over. Like so one of us will make the trip back and forth. So it's like, May you come here, August or September I go there, Christmas you come here. We'll do stuff like that. Still waiting for my August trip to Missouri, but like, yeah, as I said, that is going to be on the cards once things open up. But I thought that was
I mean, we all knew we were all going through the same thing with the lockdown, but we didn't have so much on it. I mean, a lot of people did with different things. Like, I guess if you owned a business or something like that, a very emotional thing. But for me, I was just pissed off that I couldn't go to the pub with my friends. Which is like, considering like a lot of people's circumstances, it's not that big a deal, but yeah, and we had that. Oh yes, well, this lockdown, and then bam, we watched the curve go like this in the summer, and we thought, yeah, this is it now. We're on the way out, and then oh shit, no, we're not on the way out.
No.
But hey,
yeah, that's how we ended. Yeah, in May last year, that was.
And I think I asked you this before. I have asked you this question before. If you carry on doing that and things continue in the same vein, where do you go? Do you go to Wisconsin? Do you go to Ireland?
That's the question, right? Well, of course, naturally. Well, do you want to tell me what I tell you? Go
ahead.
You don't have to say.
I don't know what you're about to say. Go ahead.
we had let me think about this. We had a conversation where Nick needed clarification on a plan. Am I wrong? Nick.
Nick. Nick.
The
floor is yours.
Nick. So I get like before you carry on, Nick. So Nick definitely brings up the right issues at the right time.
Yeah.
I'm emotional. I'm a planning emotional mess. I need to know these things.
I think
the thing is, if it was me, we wouldn't get there.
Yeah. No, I think that's most people. I think most people don't want to live in limbo, right? They want to know, kind of have an action plan. And some people are just a bit more laid back. They probably feel the same deep down, but like it's just, you don't want to be pushy or feel like you're trying to tread on anybody else, I guess.
We'll get there.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Well,
what were you going to say?
I was going to say that we said that we would both eventually plan out what it would take for one to go to the other place. So what would it take for me to go to Missouri or the States in general, and what it would take for her to come here, and that we would have that worked out. And then we would make the decision on that, plus whatever other factors we thought about, which one's the better living space, which one's the better for both of us, and maybe I'd always thought about which one's more connected to your family, like, because let's say if you're very like what we'd say you're a home bird, then you're probably not going to want to like fly too far away from the nest,
of course.
So like, whereas I think I'm not like,
I don't think
no
either
issue.
of us are.
So it's like
which is advantageous.
Right, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I guess then does that mean it's whichever works is going to be in both your best interest, like whichever is most advantageous for both of you? Yeah. Which I imagine would probably be the States, I'd imagine. But that's just me. That's where I want to go. I think that's why I think that, because I want to go to California. So it's like,
do you really?
You live there.
I lived in Virginia when I was a kid, for a couple of years. But my ex-wife was cabin crew for Virgin Atlantic. So I took full advantage of that, basically. And as soon as I went to San Francisco, I was like, so San Francisco and Vancouver, the only places I've ever been to, and I went to quite a few where I thought I could live here. Like, the only places I felt like that. Whereas I am quite a home bird, but in the heart of England, of course. But they're the only other two places where I've been and thought, yeah. I went to New York and I couldn't get out there quick enough, honestly. So, yeah, honestly. And you're Irish, Owen. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you think I'd go straight there, but it's just I didn't even go into New York. I flew into Newark Airport, had the option to go to New York, and I was like, I'll have a pint in the airport bar. And
the Irish bar, yeah.
So, go to the Irish bar in Newark, and then kept flying on to where I was going. But I went to LA as well. I couldn't have gotten out of there quicker either. I think it was just. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a country lad born in the middle of nowhere in West Ireland. That I think something about LA and Dublin as well turns me off as well. So like I wouldn't. I think really large inner city. Take or leave.
Where have you grown up, Nick? Is it sort of very urban where you are? Is it more country, or is it sort of very much residential America as a lot of people know it?
It's been a couple of places. Like with my mom's job growing up, it caused us to move around quite a bit. So I was born in Arkansas, lived there for a while, and then most of my life I've been around different parts of Missouri, which is not super huge cities, but also not super country. It's just kind of like right in the middle. But then as soon as I got the chance, one of my friends that lived out in Colorado was like, I need a roommate. And I was like, done, let's go. So I lived in Colorado for like 3 years. And then now I'm back in Missouri and I want to leave.
Would you go back to Colorado? I know a lot of people really like it there.
I would. Yeah, I would. If it weren't so expensive, I absolutely would. It's impossible to live there by yourself unless you have like
a lot of money,
an amazing job or a shit ton of money.
Yeah. And it snows a lot.
It does, but it's not as cold as you'd think.
Lies. It's
not, Owen.
I mean,
it's colder in Missouri.
Oh yeah, I mean Missouri gets real cold for sure. But like I lived in Virginia, and the day after we landed, they had one of the biggest blizzards they'd ever had. So as a kid, I just thought, oh hey, in the winter in Virginia. Because I've spoken to a couple of people through Twitch and they were like, oh, you mean you came in 93? I was like, yeah, and we had like 6 foot of snow. He was like, yeah, that's the blizzard of 93. He goes, I tell my kids about it all the time. And I was like, oh, I just thought that's what winters were like.
This is normal.
And then like in April, I was like getting sunburnt. I was like, oh, like really bad. Like it was so hot by April. I was like, what's going on here? Like, it's not like here where it gets quite cold and then it gets mild in the summer. And then you have about 3-4 days a year where it's really hot, usually. That's it. Like the swing in temperature is crazy out there, like compared to what it is here. But in Missouri, yeah, you get very hot summers, very cold, very, very cold winters.
Great.
So is it you want to get away from the cold as well then?
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. But also just, I feel no connection to Missouri at all. It's not where I would have chosen to grow up. I would prefer something like Oregon or, lots of forests and trees and stuff.
I think the
nature.
Yeah. I mean, so Oregon as well is a very, going out west, far west, to the Pacific's quite a liberal side as well, isn't it? It's quite a liberal side of the country as far as politics and stuff are concerned. That I don't know what it's like in Missouri.
Is it?
Well, in Portland it was as far what I knew and what I saw, but I don't know. Washington State is, you got Seattle and then you like San Francisco. Like I don't know. I just found the Pacific side people were really chill. Like in comparison to like where I was living in Virginia.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because like I mean we had people there were like many pickup trucks still flying the Confederate flag, you know, in the window, in the back.
Oh, that's still happening.
Is it?
It's still happening.
Yeah, I mean, this was like 94, 93, 94, 95. So obviously a long time ago, because I was always interested in flags as a kid. So I was like, oh, hey. And obviously the Star Spangled Banner is absolutely everywhere. Like everywhere. It's in most people's front gardens or hanging off their porch or whatever. So that fascinated me. And then obviously I saw this other flag and I remember saying, well, Dad, you know, what's this flag? And he told me and I obviously forgot because I was a kid, but then like obviously went back to it and there was a lot of that. But obviously, and then Virginia is obviously like on the verge of what they call the South. So, and there's still a lot of like differences. It's also a swing state there as far as elections go. So it's like, yeah, whereas when I've been my experience of being older and then being in on the Pacific side was people seemed a lot more chill. Just in general, I don't just mean with their like politics and stuff like that. Just generally more laid back. It seemed that way to me anyway, but that's why I want to go out that way. But not LA, anywhere but LA on the Pacific. Yeah. Anywhere but LA, I'd be happy with going. So we spoke about what you like and love about Twitch. What about what you dislike or you find more difficult, if anything? The dark side of Twitch.
The dark side.
Is there anything that regularly sort of annoys you? It might be big, it might be small, it might be trivial, it might be important. Anything where you think,
Owen? You can go first.
That's Nick going, I got nothing. Are there things that annoy about Twitch? I not really. There's maybe small things about like stream and stuff, and specifically, it's only me and how I deal with things, but. Like sometimes when I'm streaming whatever, and they come into Twitch, they're look, like, man, I'm so sorry, I missed this, that, and the other. I missed yesterday before. I missed this. I have to go, and I'm really sorry. I'm like, lad, like just
it's not an obligation.
But there's no issue. That's one thing that does irk me a small bit, is that people feel the need to, and I think they really shouldn't, because then I'm sitting here going, man, I don't do that to anyone. I watch Goofy people. I don't ever tell them. I give them the Irish goodbye, where you just don't say anything, you leave, and that's just how it is. And maybe that's just how I deal with it. But I suppose just want to put out there that like, look, it's grand, man. Just don't, like, there's no need to apologize or like, do you know? We all have a million things going on each day. Like you don't need to
absolutely
to give me any reps or anything like that for it. But like that's the only thing that I can think of at the moment. But if I think of anything,
I wonder about that sometimes, because that's quite a common thing, and I certainly get it, and I'm sure most streamers do. Does it make you think that, you know, who's making them? Are there people actually making them feel this way, or are they just trying to be polite? Because I sometimes I think, well, you know, where has this come from? Where does this come from? Because it doesn't come from me, and it certainly doesn't come from you, Owen. So like, why do they feel the need? Is it that people do make them feel a bit guilty sometimes?
It might be that, or they just like, they're really invested in being there, like as part of the community, and they feel bad about missing it. But like, you don't have to feel that way. Like life goes on. Like, Twitch is not your life. You don't have to be here.
I mean, I can get out.
Life.
Can I leave?
You cannot leave.
No. What about you then, Nick? Anything that generally grinds your gears?
I
thought she was going to go, right, first of all, we're going to get a list out.
I don't know that there's anything that like, I don't know if there's anything that like really stands out. Maybe follow bots. I know you had an issue with that the other day, Joe. Like I was sitting in your stream and there was like 100 follow bots just showing up, and I know Owen had the same thing. It's like things like that, maybe, but nothing that. That's
the difference.
Yeah.
Ironically, Joe, I was killing 200 pigeons the day before, and then I got 200 followers and follow bots. like 202, like almost
that's
to
your
the money.
prize.
And I was like, all right, pigeons, man. I see the payback. But yeah, the bots can be. Yeah, thank God one of the viewers, Stone, sent me on the Commander Root thing to show me how to like just clear all them out.
But shout out to Commander Root, by the way. He's making a lot of programs and APIs that are really helping streamers. He's a good guy. Yeah,
I don't really have anything.
I think the thing is, like, I've had altercations with a few people, but I think it's mainly, for me, it's what goes on outside, and like the cesspool that is Twitter, for instance. It's just like I have a problem with people who are obviously going for virtue, like spamming for virtue. That annoys me. But I mean, and I find there's a lot of like passive aggressiveness. Like there's obviously a lot of people who are close, which is cool, and then community's close and cool, and there are a lot of people who will like who are just desperate, and you can understand why, because like it's a dream job for a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people who are just, they're absolutely desperate to grow or do whatever, and I think for me it's just there's a lot of people who will be sort of will tread on you to get where they want to go, sort of thing. But I feel like certainly as time goes on, you get better at spotting those people, and you start to realize who they are, and you start to realize, you know, who are your friends and who you help out and that sort of thing. But on the whole, incredibly positive.
No, I agree with you there. I think that if you wanted me to say something that annoyed me would be that as well. I think people that come in and haven't the like the faintest want to like get to know you or your stream, and they just want to plug themselves. I think what's weird is, right, what's weird for me is that is, if you wanted to top my list of what things that annoy me, people apologizing out there is fine. But like the top thing that annoys me is people that come in, and I had one the other day that just was like, and I don't understand why they're in small streams. Like I call myself a small streamer. Like why wouldn't you go to someone who has like 250, 300 views? Maybe because your comment gets lost or in the chatter. So maybe because you don't get seen or whatever. But at the same time, it's like someone comes in and goes, I just could see it straight away, man. It was just like, I forget what the first comment was, but then all of a sudden it was like, oh, are you playing this on Switch? I was like, yeah. And then he goes, oh, funnily enough, I'm doing a Switch giveaway.
What?
Over on my thing. And I was like, oh,
cool.
Okay. Cheers. Then he said, he came in and he was like the other people that come in and go, oh, I'll give you 1,000 bits if you do this. I'll give you 2,000 bits if you do this. And I do you know what I do, man? I specifically don't do it. Yeah. And I actually go out of my way to make sure that I never do it. And then I go, all right, are you happy with that now? And I just sass him for the entire stream, because it's like, it's not a monkey see, monkey do situation. You know, I'm not someone who you can just hire to do what you want on screen. It's maybe in an event I might do that. And if I pitch it out to you and go, hey, for this or that or this, I'll do this. But like the guys and the people who come in and either A, just want to drag people over or whatever, but realizing it never works, and B is the lads trying to sell switches on my stream. What's going on, lads? I mean, but yeah, I think that's it.
Then all you have to do is troll them right back, which is, exactly what I started doing, along with like a couple other people in the chat.
So when you say small stream there, I'm going to throw out a statistic I always throw, and that's, if you have an average of 7 viewers, you are in the top 3% of streamers on Twitch.
Really?
Yes. So it's difficult to forget that, when you obviously have more than that, but that's the reality. 7 people is the top 3%. So I mean, in reality, that doesn't make it a small stream, because it's like, hey, look, not like, so how many that, but it makes me think, how many people are just streaming to absolutely nobody. I actually read I don't know how real it was, because it was just a subreddit, a guy who'd been streaming for 4 years, and was desperate to hit affiliate. And I thought, well, you just get your mates. You just
4 years.
Yeah. And I thought, you know what? I mean, you might obviously it became my job, but what I always say to people is who are on about starting, I'm like, you can't have any expectations. I didn't. But also you got to be enjoying it. And if you enjoy it, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Absolutely doesn't matter. And you'll meet some great people probably. But if you were doing it to absolutely nobody and not even talking to anyone, how long do you give it before you say, oh, you know what, maybe this isn't for me? And do you think people struggle with that because it's their dream? It's so many people's dreams.
I think if that is the case, there are people out there that have 0 viewers and 0 viewers for a long time. What I think is that maybe they just don't they don't see that if you have 0 viewers, I think you should just stop. Mm-hmm. I don't mean stop completely. I mean just stop for like a week or two. Spend a month. You've gone January, February, March, April, May. You've had 0 viewers for 5 months, right? Take June off, right? Take June off. Spend some time on Twitch. Spend some real time on Twitch with like 5, 10 different streams for a month, 2 months, right? See what's happening. See how it works. See how you build, and I don't like the term, but networking. Basically, just make some friends, man. Just make some friends who know you, who know that when you're in the chat, that's who you are. And like one thing, don't self-promo. You're not doing this to build up. No, don't sell your Switch. Like basically you're just in there to really feel part of these people's streams and just be like, build yourself up, be part of the community, do all this stuff. And then like once you have this done for like 5, 10 different people, 15 different people, like come back in July, come back in August and go, right, I'm pushing for this, that, and the other. These people will follow you on your Twitch page without you even streaming. They'll follow you. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, hey, Don Blue 38 is streaming over in thing. Let's go give him love, man. He's been here. He's been a great viewer, and we give him the best of luck. And all of a sudden, then you've 8 viewers the first day, 10 viewers. You might have 3 viewers the next day, but like you viewers, and that builds.
You stream,
and then over those 2 months, build content. Like think about things you can do, things you want to play. Watch those streams and see how people like. There's a lot of planning goes into, and like I'm going to show it in my stream on thing next week. Is like there's a lot of planning goes into like stuff that I do for mine. I know Nick does a lot of work for yours. Joe, I can tell with your recent changes to your stream that a lot of work goes into that. Yeah, and there's a lot of planning that goes into the structure of how you do your week. Yes. You know, whereas I think if you actually take a look at your stream and just go, right, let's put a pen to paper and plan it out and go, right, this is my Monday, this is my Tuesday, this I'm going to engage some people. And even if it's just like, man, starting a student screen for 5 minutes. Chat just about my week for 5 minutes. And then in the game I'm playing, I want to do, this is the goal I want to do for today. I want to get like 3 stars in Mario 64. And that's the goal. And if you want to put it up there, man, just say, look, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm terrible at the game, but I want to get 3 stars. And people get behind that because they understand where you are straight away. They're like, okay, he's not good at the game. This should be fun to watch. I understand what it is. And then you follow that, and then they understand what you're trying to do and what level you're at. And I think from there, it's just about them getting to know you and who you are. Yeah. And that's what I would say to anyone who has 0 viewers.
I totally agree. I went in having watched Ryuka play Mario on YouTube, and I hadn't even watched another stream. It just so happened that I was playing a game which was on a console which had been a complete flop in the Wii U, and it was the original Mario Maker, which I already had. It was a complete flop. The Wii U was a flop. But people liked watching Mario Maker, but there was only a handful of people streaming it. And there was basically nobody streaming it from Europe. Nobody. Essentially nobody. So when I first got raided by Oricha with 1,800 people after 10 days, I didn't know what a raid was. I didn't know what a raid was. I didn't know what a raid was.
Orator of all people.
Yeah, Oricha, the ball man raids me.
Yeah, the ball man.
And suddenly, I actually because the game was like you didn't, as if you were streaming it back then, Mario Maker 1 especially, people saw you because there was only ever like a dozen people streaming it. So people would find you. So I was just like, I never played the game. I'd had it since it came out. I'd never played it, basically. I'm just playing, and I've got like 8 people in there. And I hear like my alert go off, which was the basic Streamlabs one. Even the zombie with like the zombie on, and the same sound, the default sound. And I was like, it's hosting or radio, and I was like, I don't know what that means. So I just carry on, and suddenly the viewer count went to like 1,800, and I was like, I just said, I don't know why you're all here, but I'm glad you are. And I'm like, they'd come from Origin, from somebody who'd picked up the game 10 days before as well. It worked out quite well because obviously they find it funny because they've gone like me, who's picked it up like 10 days ago from Origin, who's like a pro, and especially at the time, one of the very, very best. So I wouldn't recommend doing what I did, and I definitely recommend knowing what you were doing before you do it, because that instance of me for Mario Maker is rare. There's not many games you can find like that. I mean, you can find them, but this was a rare occasion of not many people streaming it, but quite a massive interest for it after the people like Ryuka, Dashi, and DGR Dave on YouTube had made recording Mario Maker 1 popular. It's just rare, and I was lucky on the back of that. Obviously worked hard at it, but I was lucky. But I totally agree with what you say, Owen. You should definitely take a look at what everyone else is doing, and I've been totally inspired by several different streamers. I'll like, oh, I like that, so I sort of take that, make it my own, adjust it, change it a little bit, add my own thing to it, or come up with my own ideas. Or I like, oh, I really like that from that stream. Take it, make it your own. You don't have to copy it, just make it your own. Everyone's been inspired by something, because this is the thing as well. It's like people are saying, oh, somebody else says that, or somebody else did that as such and such. It's like, well, shut up. This is me doing it now. Like our music, art, everything's inspired by something. It doesn't have to be the same, but it can be inspired, right? So I guess on the back of that, yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that advice. And sometimes you got to take a step. Sometimes you got to take a step back to step forward.
Yeah. One step back, 2 steps forward, man. That's basically what it'll be.
So, Nick, how have you found your growth on Twitch, and how have you managed with that, and how have you kept like a level head as things have increased, as viewership's increased, and has it ever played on your emotions? Has it ever got you in a position that you felt like you didn't want it, in a place where you didn't quite want it to be? Or how have you felt about that?
So when I started, like I said, I just kind of jumped into it, having watched like 1 or 2 people.
The Tendo way, yeah.
Yeah.
This would be grand.
1,800 plus raid, but I did make sure, like I had told one of my like IRL friends, was like, hey, I don't know if you'd be interested in like just kind of hanging out and like just talking to me during this. So I made her my mod, and like it was just she and I talking and whatever. And then like a couple months go by, I have like, I don't know, maybe 10 people in there just chilling, playing Fallout. And then I remember like I've had two instances that I remember like a really big influx in people, and that was starting the Mass Effect series. Like
really?
Everyone was super hyped that I hadn't played it before. They were like really interested in watching. And then the other one was actually pretty recently, was playing Star Trek Online, which I had never touched. Like people had talked to me about it before. I was like, I don't really know what this is about. So I finally decided to try it. And then lo and behold, I've got a couple of the game developers in there just hanging out, like loving the way that I react to the things that they've made. And then a gigantic raid from one of the community members. And then they showered me with love one night, and I sobbed on stream. Like I couldn't believe that I was experiencing something that I love so much with other people that wanted to be part of it. And that was like, that was crazy. But have I had moments where I'm just like, no, fuck this, I should quit? Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Like, oh yeah. Owen knows, like, I'll come to him like, I'll come to him like all in my head, like I'm so shit, like why do people watch me? I'm loud and obnoxious, and he just like kind of helps level me out. Fuck down.
Ironically, literally every time there's been like a, how would you call it? Like a moment of doubt. I wasn't going to go that far, but like every time there's been a moment of doubt, and we have a chat that night then, and it's like we talk about like, here, look, don't worry, it's fine. You're just overthinking. It's overanalysis, you know, because we all have moments where we think, God, I'm fucking shit.
Everyone it's in like, everything, you know, in all aspects.
It's your self-esteem giving you a life check. Like, on here, are you? I'm still here. Don't worry, I'm watching you. So like, it really affects more people than others. But like, ironically, I think every time Nick has had a moment of questioning, like, is this good? Do people like me? Are people entertained by me? And it's usually like, oh, that, like, it's really shit. I think the next day or like the following day, she has a phenomenal stream, like an absolute phenomenal, like a blowout, like a bat out the park, phenomenal stream. And I just sit there going, there we go. You know, and I think it's just odd how it works like that. But it is just I tell her, like, look, it's actually a good check, because what you're also doing is checking, well, what do I not like about what I've been doing, or what maybe the things that I'm now super analyzing are things that I'm also subconsciously like not happy 100%. With. But like, it's like, don't kill yourself. Do you know what I mean? Don't go nuts and just like tear down the house you've built. Yeah. Do you know, just because you think that somebody walks by and goes, that's shit. It's like, no, this is my house. It's like you're gonna have those people. And even if I don't think it was even driven by anyone at all, but it was just your own self-thought.
I had watched one clip of myself and I was like, oh my God, why do people watch me? This is shit. And then the next day, after I'd broken down to Owen sobbing, like, I was approached by another member of the Twitch community. She was like, you know what? Your streams are the most creative shit I've ever seen. I want to collab with you. And I was like, oh my God, people actually like me.
No.
So you just need someone to come outside tell you.
Yeah, I think you're right as well, what you say about the reality check being important sometimes. Not because it's necessarily right, but it can keep you on your toes as well, and maybe analyze. I mean, we're human beings and we do overanalyze, but maybe analyze the aspects that maybe we don't like and maybe we can improve, even if it's just, you know, a really small thing. Because I think in the modern, you know, in the modern Twitch world especially, if you don't if you don't change it up, if you don't adapt, if you don't improvise, and if you don't come up with new ideas, then you're going to get left behind pretty quickly, very, very quickly.
Sorry, you're coding. What's
improvise, that? Adapt, overcome.
Yeah.
What is that?
What's his name? He's the survivalist guy. God, I think his name evades me.
Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls. Yeah, thank you.
I love Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls.
Is that why you kind of did like your like rebrandish thing, Joe?
I just know what you mean with playing new games and stuff like that, or just generally the brand in general. I don't know. My thing now. I am a Mario Maker streamer still, and I still like playing the game. But will I like playing it in another year's time? I don't know. There'll still be people that want to watch it because it is just one of those games that will go on for a very long time, just because of how you can just make so many different levels, and everyone sees new levels every single day, and I still see new stuff every single day. That's what's incredible about that game. I've been playing other games, and of course, you know, you play a different game, it means that, some people just want to play Mario, and that's fair enough. But playing different games has been nice, and seeing people come in for me rather than just the game is cool. But it's I'm just always thinking. And in my head, since obviously doing it full time as well, it's like, well, I love doing these. I love doing these podcasts because I'm really interested in people's stream stories and stories full stop, but especially the stream stories. You know, be it somebody who's literally just started or a veteran. I'm just really interested in that. And for me, I think if you juggle as many balls as you can, you know, without overloading yourself, if one drops, then fuck it, one drops. It doesn't matter, does it? If one drops, like if I'd had like my YouTube is only just now getting close to the point of monetization. And there are people like, well, how come your YouTube's like, I've never put as much effort into it, but like I juggled that ball a bit and it's getting to the point of monetization, and then maybe I'll put more effort into it. But the point I'm making is that, you know, if it didn't work out, then Twitch did, you know? So for me, if because I've got the time to do full time, my analogy is if you've got the time, juggle as many balls as you can. If you drop one, don't be afraid of failing on one ball. Fuck it. It's just one ball. It doesn't matter. People will probably be snarling behind your back. You know, there'll be haters that love to see it, but who gives a fuck at the end of the day? That's their prerogative. And you know, if you're not successful in one aspect, you'll be successful in another, maybe. So that was part of the idea with the podcast. And also we could speak about some more serious stuff, like my last podcast with Louise LCX. She was saying actually that, you know, it's going to be the first time that people are going to see like a bit of a more serious, we had the crack as well, but a bit of a more serious side to her as well. Because she's like, oh, I don't really do that on stream, and that's not really her shtick, which is cool, you know, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's why she was quite excited, and it is quite cool to see people's reactions, and you know, the reaction these get, you know, combined, these podcasts combined with the list on YouTube and combined with the views on, so I'll get way more love than my Mario Maker videos, like way more. So that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I thought it'd be nice to have you two on. I didn't expect the story to be as good as it was. I didn't realize it's a lockdown. But you know, if a lot of other streamers were doing this, I'd listen to it. So I just thought, well, why not make it then? I want to listen to what other people say, and I genuinely like doing this. I'd like to speak to people, and you know, I know you guys anyway, but like actually, people are always so busy. If you can put it down and get a format like this where you say, right, we're going to sit down here and there's going to be something that comes from it, you know, make it worthwhile for people as well, then it's win-win as far as I'm concerned. Everyone gets exposure, and we actually get to enjoy just having a chat as streamers, which is you always chat to you know, the people you know that are closest. But yeah. We're at 1 hour 22, so I think that's a good time to call it. I want to thank you both so much for coming on. And before we say goodbye, obviously, I will get all the social media and links from Piece by Piece, aka Nick, and Wazzacrack, aka Owen, and they will all be in the description below. I suggest that you follow them now if you haven't already done it. And a massive thank you for sharing your story. And good luck to you both for the future in all your endeavors. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Goodbye.